You seem bothered by something.
How did we get here?
A CDMP TV and film presentation from Crazy D, the mind who brings you the Black Ice Chronicles, the Females DVD, and Situations DVD, brings you The Shifter. It's Halloween night at Crazy D's, and a pesky vamp is out for blood. Beware of the Shifter.
That's it. You gotta go beat it damn scram, man. Damn.
Why don't you be a doll and find me a place to change? I need a place to change my clothes before I go.
What? Don't try to hold me on the phone.
D, you been holding out on me?
I was just about to stop and help. You know I help the crackheads, D.
Some people just don't have originality with their outfits.
It's like I hear voices in my head talking to me and shit.
I saw that punk ass Charles Pippen and his cousin leaving here.
I learned the grace pose. Get your camera ready.
We're here, like we said, for trick or treat. Crazy, what did you see? You seem bothered by something.
You see that shit?
That crazy fuck in there.
Oh, what the fuck that was for? Right. She can't stand that shit.
Well, who's the pet bitch?
Like, I don't
What the fuck was she need all hoes? I told her to scratch that, poke that bitch eye.
Beware of the Shifter. Be at the premiere if you dare.
Are you gonna listen to the move?
I've been out the loop since '09. Yeah, I'll be back to get at that, though. Check this. I'm at the motherfucking house last night. Guess what the fuck I see?
What you see?
Jamaica, what's up? Fuck you think you fucking with? It's Maxwell, bitch!
Fuck you in them shoes.
Bitch, I'm about to stalk you with these shoes.
I thought I told you to get a jump to Crazy D.
I did give it to Crazy D. You know, D, you must have seen money in that. You know, he used to produce those nudie DVDs.
Fuck you, thin man. I know you did it.
Don't let your mouth write a check, cause I will take it out on your ass. Damn, man. Is you serious?
I don't appreciate being roughed up by men. Or should I say, male bitches.
Yeah, you gonna work out.
And we look for young ladies like you to host them.
I look like somebody that can host your videos.
That's right. So go change, cause we ain't got all day.
Get off the house.
Pretty good, though. What's all that bullshit?
Crazy. What the hell? How you in my room?
Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel. Subscribe.
Hi, this is Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching the Film Review.
What's going on, people? How you feeling? This is another great episode of #TFR Podcast Live, the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, society on this podcast called #TFR Podcast Live. Replays on iHeartRadio. That's right. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to all of our platforms. We want to shout out to everybody that is on Periscope right now listening to us, right? Watching us. Vimeo listening to us, watching us. Facebook watching us, liking us. And of course, the Film Review Live channel on YouTube. That's right. We are broadcasting lively right now on all of those platforms. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, the like button, and the share button because do we have a jam-filled, packed show for you today. So before we get started with the usual, for those of you who are into historical figures, right? Well, you know, we've been telling you about this show right here, right?
This show, really
we've been telling you about this show. Right? Called The Good Lord Bird, right? We've been telling you about that show. Well, this week, Frederick Douglass is introduced. And for those who love their historical figures and don't like them critiqued in satire or in caricature, we just want to be able to prepare you ahead of time. If you haven't watched Observations, Observations, we come on Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That's myself with my special guest, my sister, Observations by Crazy D, with my sister Tanya M. Congress. Well, on episode 34, we extensively explored the Frederick Douglass affair. We suggest before you watch tonight's episode, or when you watch the episode on demand of The Good Lord Bird, that you watch our episode because we lay out these two women right here extensively, right? What's going on, Tanya M. Congress? We see you checking in. Listen, so before you watch episode 3 of The Good Lord Bird, we suggest that you check out what we did here, the Frederick Douglass Affair, episode 34, on the Film Review Live channel. You go right there and just type it in, Observations, #Observations TFR episode 34, and it'll come up. Because don't be shocked. I know some people are shocked when they find out certain truths about their heroes. It's no need to be shocked because we have definitely laid it out there for you so that you will not have shock. So we just had to say that before we do our regular beginning because, the Good Lord Bird is getting kind of complex. It's making you expand your thought process as these heroes and these sheroes are explored within these within a historic platform within satire, right? So it's very important that you check that out. So before we go any further, how's your week been?
Well, I'm a little under the weather. But
Okay.
Other than that,
Yeah, a little under the weather, but still trooping through.
Yes.
You know, she is a trooper, super duper. Can't wait to watch it. And Lovecraft Country. That's right.
Yeah.
Tanya M. Congress said, can't wait. That's right. Lovecraft Country tonight.
Tonight is the what?
It's the finale of Lovecraft Country.
I saw a writing on Lovecraft Country. Someone did a write-up on it. And they said something about it was too many storylines or something. So they couldn't really understand it, but I understand it fine. I mean, it's a great show. I mean, there's multiple. It's just like growing up, reading those books.
Choose your fate books, right?
Yeah, with different storylines going on and different adventures, and that's what this is like. It's like different adventures. So, yeah, This is the season finale tonight, and I am going to miss watching it because every week they give you something different.
Yeah, every week they give something different. So let's start with some blurbs real quick. Okay. We talked about this blurb on Observations TFR. Okay. Don't trust, this person wrote this, don't trust no black person that trust white people. That law, right? That's law. Don't trust no black person that trusts white people. That's law. Which gave the question, can you trust black people who trust white people? That's the question of, not tonight, but just the thing, which brings us to this meme right here. Because this came up, we didn't talk about this on the show. This came up, and it says, and some people wonder why black men don't trust Kamala. Some people say Kamala. I say Kumala because she's not American black. Harris. Why black men don't trust Kamala Harris. What do you think about that? What's your thought process on that as far as, Kamala, not seeming to be in the...
My thoughts on her is not based on who she's married to. It's based on her experience, like her background as with the Attorney General in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
And my views are based on different, with the black community experience under Kamala Harris,
right, when
she was Attorney General, which was not a good experience for American blacks.
Right.
So, you judge a person by their character, and she called herself, and she was known as the top cop. Mm-hmm. And there are multiple examples of not so kind things that was done to black people, either by her or by those under her in San Francisco. So I judge her by not who she's married to, but who she is as a human being. So
yeah, but her mentality, just looking at her mentality, would go along with who she married.
I can see that. That makes
sense. Yeah. So here's something that's coming up, talking about Diddy. Right?
Okay.
It says Diddy's former bodyguard, entertainment bodyguard, tells his side of the story as a witness to the death of Notorious B.I.G. It's an eye-opener. Wow, Diddy is all I got to say. Shake my G-damn head. Watch on YouTube, raw, detailed, the last before IG Big Part 1, 2, and 3. I think we saw this last year.
Yeah, like why does this keep regenerating on social media?
It's coming up. See, I wanted to address this because we addressed this like maybe a year and a half ago, but because of Jaguar Wright coming out, and then the bodyguard saying that he's never kept his mouth shut, right?
Okay.
So now, here's something that's just raging all over the net also, right? This is Willie D speaking up for his dude, Ice Cube, right? Ice Cube has been solid, consistently writing for the black community since he came into the game over 30 years ago.
Right.
He cannot be canceled. F anybody that got it on their mind. No more talk. So if people don't know what's going on with Ice Cube, you need to go back and watch one of the observations TFR episodes, man. Our last episode, I believe so, right, of the week, where we broke that down to its very last compound, right? Yeah. But since then, more news has been coming out. Even Stephanie Mills has gotten into the act, but we're going to discuss that on Monday on Observations at 9:30 a.m. So you want to look out for that, right? Okay. So
I love how these celebrities. I can't tell if people are genuinely coming out because they have something to say that's important, or if they're just jumping out for publicity, just for attention.
Or are they jumping out just to save the Caucasian? Save the Caucasian.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so here's Ice Cube's response to everyone going at him, right?
Okay.
Episode 38. Thank you, Tanya L. Congress. This is our episode 38 on Ice Cube, right? When I got bused to school, homies called me a sellout. When I started rapping in 83, bangers called me a sellout. When I left NWA, they called me a sellout. When I started doing movies, rappers called me a sellout. When I started my own league, the arena said it was a sellout. Ha 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 ha. You see what's going on here? People are taking sides for Caucasians instead of sticking, right? Now, here's something that was happening, and I need to see what the update really of this is, because this came out a couple of days ago when I had put this on the board to look at.
Okay.
But something must have happened because Don Lemon must have had something derogatory to say about Cube, and I got so busy with real life that this life right here was not really necessary. But he says, thank you, Chris. Now see, Chris Cuomo had Ice Cube on his show, and I still didn't see that interview yet, but he said, thanks, Chris. You're a man of your word. Don Lemon, that was some punk you just did. If you have any balls, I need to be on your show Monday night at 10 p.m. I'll be ready. So I guess we'll see Monday night at 10 p.m. if Don Lemon is going to have him on the show. I mean, this is twisting up.
My question is, has the dynamics changed from being a media source and being impartial, a reporter reporting the news, or has it turned into just nothing but entertainment, and I'm only going to talk to and interview entertainers and people that make me feel good? So are you reporting the news and talking to everyone and being objective, or are you just an entertainment reporter? So I think now the lines are starting to get blurred, right? So because Wendy Williams show, when I watch Wendy, that's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But when I turn on to a news source such as MSNBC, CNN, or Fox, I expect it to be news, right? And I expect the reporters to report the news and to ask the hard questions. And if they don't understand something, sit down and talk to the person and find out what their point of view is, right? So it's not Entertainment Tonight. It's not, oh, do I want to sit down and interview this artist, or because we're just talking about the arts. And no, you're supposed to be a news source, CNN, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So sit down as a journalist. So maybe that's the question. Are these people journalists or are they talking heads? Because maybe if we had clarity, it would make things a lot easier for everyone to understand all of this craziness. Right. So, if you're a journalist, be a journalist. If a person wants to be an entertainment reporter, just be an entertainment reporter, a talking head. Like, this makes no sense.
Don Lemon can be complex, perplexing. Mm-hmm. He's not complex. He can be perplexing at times because sometimes he's on the right side of it. Mm-hmm. And not to say that you have to be on the right side of it and not have a varying opinion, but he's into sensationalism so much. A lot of things he does good, but that sensationalism, mm-hmm. I don't agree with that.
But the issue that I'm having with a lot of people, I am starting to see that people are, I don't know if it's like falling back into their like childhood mind state. I don't know if this COVID and people being slightly sheltered and things changing in the world, not being able to leave and come and go freely and mingle with other people as we used to, because some people mentally are I don't want to say a mental decline, but people aren't able to be objective. Right. Like, they want to pick sides like children. Like, in the playground in school. No, I want to be on this team. Like, it's like, how about just looking into both candidates, looking at both platforms? It's not a popularity contest. It's about facts. What's important? What's best for you? What's best for the community? What's best for the world? Not about who you like, because I don't like what they said and how they said it. It's turning into like elementary school or junior high school. Like, I don't know if this whole COVID situation is bigger than just like COVID, because I'm starting to see a mental decline in a lot of people. People are spazzing out. It's wild.
I mean, which on Monday, on Observations TFR, hashtag Observations TFR at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in. We're going to be discussing that topic with a fable called The Scorpion and the Frog. Now, the scorpion and the frog can be applied in many different ways to what's going on with this election, because there are certain bridges that are being burned that will not be rebuilt. There are bonds that are being broken that are not going to be able to be put back together again due to this. So we're going to be looking at the Scorpion and the Frog fable. Episode 39 this Monday.
That's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Because I'm telling you, people don't know how to have a decent conversation without being rude or nasty. That, and it's just like, it's like talking to like a toddler. It's just weird. And then especially when you know the facts versus like fiction. Like, you don't have to. That's just like growing up, right? So in school, let's say in high school, a certain teacher may not have been your favorite teacher, right? Because you have some teachers that are considered, oh my gosh, I don't like this teacher's too mean or whatever, this, right? But then that particular teacher that may not be popular with everyone is really good at what they do. Mm-hmm. Like, one of my best teachers was like one of the strictest teachers in the school. Nobody liked her, but she was good at what she did. And when you graduated from out of her class, you were skilled and you walked out with information and you learned something. So, I mean, it's I don't know, it's just crazy to me. And the lies, like, like I'm in the area of healthcare. So what drives me crazy is this whole, oh my gosh, we're not going to have protection when we're sick we're not going to be protected, and healthcare is going to change, and I'm like thinking, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but under Trump, nothing changed. Like the bottom didn't drop. Like I didn't see any patients or clients turned away because of pre-existing illnesses. So
right.
I mean it's just like, so, and then the lies, and
yeah, but we're gonna discuss.
It's just a lot. Like I'm objective. I'm looking at both candidates. I'm like, the people on the news, when they're like in between, they talk to a bunch of people, and there are groups of people who said, "Oh, I'm still listening. I'm watching both candidates. I'm still looking to decide." Right? I want to see all of the debates. I want all of the information. I'm like one of those type people. I'm not a follower. I've never been a follower, even as a child. It's just in me. I'm not a follower. I'm like a person that looks at all the information. I'm a data person, right? I'm an analyst, so I look at tons of information. That's all I do, is do it 24/7. Analyze. So that's how my mind works. So I'm not just going to jump on a team because a person says this is what I should do. So, it's just alarming. And to see people cursing, and they showed this one celebrity, literally, and this is an older celebrity, and him and his wife was on social media talking, and the wife is screaming and crying, and I'm thinking like,
doing some kind of
and
Trump
I'm
dance.
Like, I grew up watching this man on television, and he's like, what, in his 70s,
roughly.
And his wife she's crying and screaming, and I'm just like listening to some of the stuff they're saying, and I'm like, okay, but have you gone to and looked at the platforms for both of these two candidates? Because, lady, you're about to have a nervous breakdown over something that's not true, that's just being reported. Like, so it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just wild.
Now this one came out. The woman was on an airplane. A Detroit woman says she woke up to a pastor peeing on her on the plane. Now, we've seen Soul Plane, we've seen Airplane, but I have never seen people outside of the latrine on the outside of the latrine of the airplane, outside of the restroom on the airplane, peeing on someone.
Right.
It's just really, it's really getting
I'm telling you,
out of hand.
People are losing their minds.
They're losing their minds.
I'm thinking it's the way people are eating too.
It's got to be.
Because if a lot of people are consuming more liquor than usual, more pork and beef than usual, more junk food than anything that's not good for you will affect you mentally. I'm telling you, because people are losing their minds.
Now, this came from a person reposted this meme that, I usually read their posts, and I usually respect what they say, but this meme came up, and I'm looking at it, right? Okay. So it's a superimposing of Biden's face onto Donald Trump, right? And it's from the original image. This one right here, I'm going to bring it in, right?
Right.
It's from this original image right here of Ali knocking out Sonny Liston in their second meeting, the rematch after Ali after Sonny Liston didn't get up off the stool after the 5th round. He didn't get up off the stool. And I asked, I said, can American blacks have anything that won't be used to profit a Caucasian?
There's a certain I have learned that you have two groups of people, mentality-wise, right? And then you have one group who are nothing but facts, information about their community, about their people, clear cut. And then you have the other group that get down for whatever's good, whatever looks good, whatever feels good, whatever the feel good team. And so the people that's on the feel good team, right, who are followers, they're not offended by that. This person can do no wrong, right? The feel good team are the same group of people who, if we're going to talk about history, and if we're going to dive back into the past for a little bit, the feel-good team, the same people that's all okay with this disgrace, are the same people that's on the same team as, I got to run in the house and go tell Massa that they talking about getting away. They get away, they gonna cause problems for all of us. So the feel-good team, the feel-good people, because it feel good right now. I don't want it to feel bad. We don't need our freedoms. It's good the way it is, right? So the feel-good team people are comfortable with this. They don't see it as a disgrace to Muhammad Ali.
That is Muhammad and Sonny Liston.
And Sonny Liston.
Because that's American Black history. They don't
feel that it's a disgrace. You know why? Because that feels good for them. You know why? Because they say, that's my candidate. And my candidate feels good. So anything he do feels good. It don't matter what his record is. It don't matter what he's saying. It don't matter that he just said a few weeks ago to the little girls in Florida in the Haitian community.
Get a little older, come back 4 years.
Can't wait till you get a little older and come back in 4 years to see them do the dance that they do. Right? Didn't he say something about a dance?
Yeah.
Come back and see you do that dance in 4 more years.
It was 14. He said 14. That's a cutoff.
And
but when you turn 18, I'm old enough to be your great grandpa.
And they're okay with this. And this is the same man who have had women come out and say that he sexually harassed them. But the feel good team don't care.
They don't care.
And they don't care what he just said to these little girls in the little.
They just chuckle uncomfortably.
Uncomfortably chuckle. So the feel good team, they don't.
Because
care.
this is a disgrace. Because he say, will you just shut up, man? Now, every time, you have to go back and watch the footage. Every time Biden says, man, he's talking to a black reporter. When the black reporter asked him about a cognitive test to see if his brain was okay, he says, come on, man. It's like if for you to sit down and do this interview, they had to test you to see if you're on cocaine.
Right.
Are you on cocaine?
Like,
you see,
where does that come from?
Every time he says, man, he did the same thing to Charlemagne. He said, come on, man. If you're questioning voting for me, then you ain't black. Come on, man. Every time he says, man, that is the racial slur. When Caucasians say man to you, and they try to say, what's up, man? Or they don't know you, but instead of just saying sir or whatever, and whatever age they are. It doesn't matter what age they are. When they say man, I just look at them and say, you are a bigot. Okay, look.
I mean, you just look at his track record.
Yeah.
And I mean, just look at his track record. Just look at the bills and policy that he's been behind.
That's right. And you can go right to our shows.
There. But people don't care. The feel-good people don't care.
This right here, people, is an iconic image that should never be stained by the image of a Caucasian being plastered over it, right?
Now, if they had to put Donald Trump's head on that, I would be just as pissed, right?
Right.
You know why? Because, I don't know, what's the word? I have...
Couth?
I guess so. Cool, right?
Yeah, cool.
So I don't care who the person is. Just like when we question something that's been done by Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Biden, we ask questions.
That's right.
Right? And we look into everything. And we look at everybody's platform and present each candidate's platform. That's what you're supposed to. But the people that's on the feel-good team, it feels good to feel. See, I call it the feel-good team because this is the mentality. Feeling good to be able to be a part of something, feeling like a team, just feeling like a follower. Don't have to think, just go along with everybody else, because it's just easy to be a follower, I guess, for some people. So it just feels good to them. Whatever feels good. It just
feels good. Dang, it feels good to be a follower.
I guess so.
I don't know. I guess it does. Which brings us to the first review of the night, right? Brings us to the first review of the night, which is a documentary called Pariah, The Lives and Deaths of Sonny Liston. That's right. The Lives and Deaths of Sonny Liston, 2019, showing right now on Showtime, starring the following people. It's a documentary, y'all, and it's well put together. Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Willie Reddish Jr., who is a childhood friend of Sonny Liston, Helen Jean Long, which is his niece, Jerry Eisenberg, Mark Rodney, Red Rodney's son. Red Rodney's son was I guess you could say, a gangster figure out here in Las Vegas that had ties and involvement with Sonny Liston, as the documentary says. Elvis Mayo portrays Sonny Liston in the reenactments. Well done with that, right? Minister Abdul Muhammad, Rahim Muhammad, from representing the Nation of Islam. Trish Goran, she's a West Side Las Vegas historian. Martin Luther King is in it through archive footage. Malcolm X is in it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is in it through archive footage. And a young Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is in it. You get to see him as a young person, right? So here's our synopsis, right? A documentary that is told through the eyes of the people who were there, archival footage and beautifully scripted, filmed and edited reenactments of points in Sonny Liston's life, masterfully cut into a gumbo, which makes Pariah entertaining, but informational and informative, closing the gaps in time. Sometimes you need gaps closed, like you won't be able to figure out when this happened, because they don't really put dates on things, right? They don't put dates on things, or when people are talking, they don't tell you when certain things happen, right? And so this documentary puts dates to events. That's what makes it really good. What do you think about it?
I think it was a really, really good documentary. A real good historical piece, because like you said, it filled in a lot of the gaps for me. And to see, just to learn more about him, how he grew up, right? And what it was like for him as the champion, and not be given the opportunities that we see
champions
given
afforded
today, right? You know, like, why wasn't he given like endorsements, you know? And why was he shunned because he wasn't the quote unquote poster boy, right? So so he was shunned basically based on a popularity contest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a really good documentary. I learned a lot, I learned a lot. And then seeing Muhammad Ali, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just made me think about from watching previous Muhammad Ali documentaries on his life, right? And how he stood, for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how he was given a hard time.
Both were given a hard time.
Both were given a hard time. Both were champions.
Kind of like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
This is what really, really floors me, right? Is that these same people who want to quote Martin Luther King today, right? So back during that period, just like right now, the way people are doing Cube, right? Black people were treating Martin Luther King like he was a pariah. Speaking of pariah,
exactly.
Black people thought that Martin Luther King was doing the wrong thing. Right. They thought Martin Luther King was doing the wrong thing. They thought Martin Luther King was stirring up trouble. So these are the same mind state that people had.
The
mindset or state, right?
No, mindset. Because a mind state, you're open to all the information.
Oh yeah, they're not open to anything. They're closed-minded.
Mindset.
Okay, so the same type of people, right, who have something negative to say about Ice Cube or anybody else that's saying, okay, y'all, let's look at the facts. Let's not jump to conclusions. Okay, let's see what this candidate is bringing to the table. No, we don't care what he's bringing to the table. We hate Trump. That's the go-to. We hate Trump. Okay, so what's the issue you have with Trump? I just don't like him. Okay, so why don't you like him? He just gets on my nerve. I mean, it's just like repetitive stupidness, right? So it's like you don't know. You don't know, but okay.
So they have to.
What do you like about Biden? They don't know what they like. Oh, this is what they like about Biden. Oh, he was vice president for President Obama. Okay, so that's why? I mean, it's just so stupid. But anyway, so going back to Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King, right? People gave them a hard time. So, I mean, anytime black people who are using their minds, thinking outside the box, and looking at the total complete picture with mental clarity, right? People, people are looking at them like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you a follower? Why aren't you going along with our stupidity?
Right. So Sonny Liston, right? So let's break this down.
Okay.
The cinematography, especially on the reenactments, that's a 10. Storyline, through line is a 10. Okay. Sound and editing, taking the archival clips and balancing up to the now 4K clips, that's a 10.
Okay.
The reenactments, that's a 10.
Yeah.
Sonny as a character, building Sonny Liston as a character within this documentary, that's a 10.
Right.
Capture of the feeling of the times.
Right.
Then that's a 10. Las Vegas as a character, very interesting the way that they used Las Vegas and made Las Vegas a character. That's a 10.
Yeah, because I did not know that he spent as much time, and I didn't know he lived in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he lived here.
Yes.
He lived here all the way up.
Yeah,
right?
So I didn't know that. So I learned a lot. It was very informative.
Story beats. There are a lot of story beats in this, how something in the past connects to something in the future, how certain fight situations, certain story beats. It's a 10.
Yeah.
Objective versus subjective.
Yeah.
Is somewhat.
This is a new category.
Yeah, it's more objective than it is subjective.
Right.
I give it a 10.
Yeah.
So Pariah, the light. So what would you give?
I would
Pariah?
give it a 10 because, like you said, a new category. It was very objective because they gave you both point of view, right? So you learned about his background, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you learned also whether it was an unsavory background. They put the facts on the table. They told you about that, right? And then they also told you about the positive things in his life, right? So that you did get like a balance. How he was a family man. He loved his family. We learned that. But then we also learned that he had ties to, as they say, the underworld. Right. So, but yeah, so they did give you a balance. So it was a well done. Well done. Yeah.
As objective as a documentary can be. So so Pariah, the lives and deaths of Sonny Liston, because they were in each area of his life, in each age of his life, there were lives. He had lives and he had deaths. Little notches and cuts that killed his life in every instance. So I give it a 10. It is well worth watching, right? So let's move it right along here. Let's move over to the next piece that we're going to be reviewing tonight. And make sure you smash the share button, the like button, because you know on hashtag TFR Podcast Live, we give the reviews that saves you revenue in your pocket, so you won't have to be going and necessarily having to go pay for all these places to watch movies, because we're going to tell you if it's good or not.
And the Sonny Liston story is on Showtime.
That's right, on Showtime. Here we go, people. So the next one that we're reviewing today is the trial of the Chicago 7, right? I want to shout out to Neo Soul. She was on her Facebook and she said, you guys should be watching this. She just put it on the timeline. And I went over and Neo Soul, she used to shop with me when she was in Cleveland, right? She's a Neo Soul artist, right? Neo Soul. And so I want to shout out to her because she said you should be watching this. So we went right over there and said, let's watch this. And so we watched this, and it is jam-packed, filling in the gaps, right? Filling in the gaps, right? The Trial of the Chicago 7, 2020. It is on, what is it playing on? Netflix, 2020 film, ensemble cast, right? So let's see. Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen acts in this.
We know him as Borat. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Abby, he portrays Abby Hoffman.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Eddie Raumain. Eddie Raumain is Tom Hayden. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Richard Schultz. Yahya Abdul Mateen II portrays Bobby Seale.
Great job.
Kevin Harrison Jr. portrays Fred Hampton. And there's some information that they give you in this film that is shocking about Fred Hampton in this film that you did not know. You know, sometimes when they do documentaries, they don't tell you what's going on simultaneously at the same. So this film fills in gaps about Fred Hampton, and we're going to come back to that, right? Jeremy Strong is Jerry Rubin, right? I already said Jeremy Strong. Mark Rylance is William Kinstler, right? Michael Keaton is Ramsey Clark. John Carroll Lynch is David Dellinger. The judge kept calling him Dillinger, like the famous bank robber John Dillinger, but his name was Dellinger, right? And so that was one of the things, right? Caitlin Fitzgerald is Daphne. Very interesting character, Daphne. And Alex Sharp is Rennie Davis, right? So this is more of a thought. This is more thoughts on the piece than it is a synopsis. Various grassroots organizations converge on Chicago for the 1968 Democrat Convention. Remember, what's happening in 1968 where protests would be coming down on the Dixiecrats in 1968, right?
Right.
15,000 protesters from various anti-war groups were not issued a permit for Grant Park, right? So 15,000 people converged on Grant Park, right? 8 were indicted on conspiracy. 8 defendants out of 15,000 people were indicted on conspiracy. Though none knew each other, a couple of them like came from the same organization, so they might have been 2 here, 2 there, but for the most part, the 8 did not know each other, right, before the protests. Now, here's what's interesting about Fred Hampton, right? Here's what's interesting about Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton lived in Chicago. He was the member of the Illinois, he was the head president, he was the president of the head of the chapter of the Black Panther Party in Illinois, based in Chicago. Fred Hampton was at the trial because Bobby Seale was wrongfully arrested because he was not even there when the protest kicked off, but they were trying to railroad Bobby Seale. But you'll see that in the trial of the Chicago 7, because originally you will see original posters. If you go on the net and you look it up, you'll see the Conspiracy 8, Free the Conspiracy 8. But he was not even there, and you will see what happens to his situation, why they call it the trial of the Chicago 7, right? But Fred Hampton was in there giving him advice because they did not allow him to have a lawyer, right? Fred Hampton was murdered by Chicago police while the trial was on. So while the trial was happening and he was there every day to support Bobby Seale, he and his pregnant wife were shot at. She survived. He died. 4 a.m. in the morning, the police conduct a bum rush, an ambush, and he's killed. He's murdered by Chicago police while the trial is on, which leads to the film that is coming out pretty soon called Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, if you don't know what Black Messiah means, it means J. Edgar Hoover wrote that they were on the lookout and they wanted to disqualify or to muddy up or to eliminate possible black messiahs that will lead American black people from out of their bondage. COINTELPRO. So how Bobby Seale was taken out. This is a trailer for Judas and the Black Messiah. I would really have liked to have seen Stanfield actually portray Fred Hampton, right? But you know, they have, you know, we're seeing our modern day Hera Belafonte or Sidney Poitier right now, coming from another land, telling these pro-black stories. Have we got this together yet, people? What you got to say?
I believe it's gonna be a great film because both are really great actors, and in the Chicago 7, the character, actually, waiting for my phone to come back up, but the actor that played
who?
That played Fred Hampton. We reviewed him before. Kevin Harrison Jr. Played Fred Hampton in the Chicago 7. He's
been in Waves.
Loose. Great actor.
Actor.
When he first came on the screen, I was like, okay, he's gonna do a great job. He's a good actor. And you know what? After seeing him in Chicago 7, He would also did a great job playing Fred Hampton, I believe.
Portraying Fred Hampton.
Portraying him as in the film Judas.
Yeah. Judas and the Black
But
Messiah.
I don't think we're going to be disappointed.
No, we won't be
Judas and the Black Messiah, because they are really two really good actors, and we reviewed both of them in like multiple films, and we have given them like high scores. So in Lakeith Stanfield is
we've reviewed him in
everything he touches turns to gold. Like literally, he's a good actor, so he's gonna be fine. But when we saw Chicago 7 on Netflix, the judge was so angry every time he saw Fred Hampton in the courtroom, and when they announced, that he died, the first thing I said to you is, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the judge gave the order the way he was acting. I mean, because he didn't want him coming in the courtroom. He was angry because he was giving advice to Bobby Seals.
Right. He knew exactly who he was.
Exactly.
Right.
Go ahead. No, I don't want to give the film away because you have to see it, right? Mm-hmm. So when they were showing previews of this like months ago, I'm like, this is going to be good. Yeah. So when you told me, okay, it's out, and then we watched it the same day that it was released on Netflix, and there's a scene when the judge gives this wicked order, and it's done, and it's taken out on Bobby Seale. You definitely get a feel of the climate
of the time.
Mm-hmm. And when the judge gives this order, after he did that, there was no doubt in my mind that he, in my opinion, would have given an order to make
would
sure,
have been discussing over a backroom deal with cigars and some
how to get rid of Fred Hampton. No doubt in my mind after seeing what he did.
He knew exactly who he was.
Right.
So let's go through it. I have to say truly that Sacha Baron Cohen can mask who he is, and I didn't know it was him. But anyway, cinematography, the way that they tell the story with this, like when you look at this is an actual shot from the movie that they made into the poster, and the low angle high shot showing the diminish that the person that's in the middle, which is actually Sacha Baron Cohen as Abby Hoffman, right? Yes. How menacing this is. It's a low angle high shot. How menacing this is, being a small person being taken on by the United States government. Right? That's a 10.
You know what? Before you finish, Jeremy Strong, who's also another one of our favorite actors, and we reviewed him on the show Succession, right? Succession is on HBO. Mm-hmm. And he played Jerry Rubin. And he did a great job playing Jerry Rubin. We was like, wait a minute, we know him. And we put the pieces together. We're like, okay, he's on the show Succession. He did a great job. Just like Sacha
Baron
Cohen. They did a really great job with, you'll go over it, but the costume and design, like they did a great job covering them up, the wigs, the whole, they did great.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is Bobby Seale. He played Bobby Seale to the vest. You know what I'm saying? He didn't show his emotions, but yet he used his face to emote. It's beautifully done. Storyline, through line is a 10. Character arc is a 10. It's something about Tom Hayden that his character arcs. It's an ensemble piece, and some of the characters are who they are already, but Tom Hayden as a character arcs throughout the film. You want to look out for that. Acting skill and emoting, I already said that, that's a 10. Wardrobe, cars, set, putting you there, that's a 10. Locations that they shot in to represent Grant Park, the use of tight in angles to represent lots of people, but you could tell if you're in film that it wasn't 15,000 extras out there to do this. So they used a couple of hundred people, and camera angles, tight in cropped angles made it bring you the chaos of having a large crowd of people. Story beats, how things connect. Something happens earlier in the film that comes back later in the film. That's a 10. Believability is a 10.
It's a 10.
The historical facts in the film, it's a 10. It lets you know what the FBI as well as other investigating agencies of the government thought about what the Chicago police did that day. You have to pay attention to what said. See, all of this is what we see is situations repeating themselves, right?
Yeah.
And we keep on repeating and being on that hamster wheel. We talk about the hamster wheel all the time, and these rulings have already come down from the federal government, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the CIA, and other investigating agencies about what police officers do. All we have to do is just go back and research that and apply. Is this a conspiracy? Did they do it the way that they did it? That would make it a conspiracy hatched by the police. But we never think to go back that far and just look at historical facts.
You know what? People, I have learned during this election season that there are some people that do not care about facts. They don't. But in Chicago 7, there was a great scene with played by Jeremy Strong. He played Jerry Rubin. And do you remember the scene where while all of these different people are taking a stand, it just is like a bulb went up above his head that all of these were informants. And you know, like you said, that like some of them FBI, the CIA, and they had them as if they were just like the everyday people, part of the movement, and it's just like they strategically place these people to help set them up.
So people have to watch out because this is still going on today, right? It's still going on today. So what would you give the Trial of the Chicago 7 now showing on Netflix?
You know what? I would definitely give it a 10 because it was worth the wait. You know, it's just well done. I love all of the historical facts, the information given. And then I want to say too, the judge, Frank Langella, did a great job because he really just like irritated me. I mean, he did a great job as a judge, but just so people know, the judge, because we know Fred Hampton's name and we know Bobby Seale and Tom Hart and Abby Hoffman, but the judge was Julius Hoffman. I don't know if he's still around today or not.
I would doubt he was up in age then. This
wicked, cruel judge, it was a disappointment to me because aren't you supposed to be the man who is supposed to be objective and balanced and keep a balance of order, law and order?
Right.
But when you see this film and see how this man carried himself and how cruel he was in the courtroom, Judge Julius Hoffman, a huge disappointment. But you know what? Chicago 7 is just well done. And
that's a 10.
Definitely a 10. And Yahya Abdul Mateen II, we talked about him in The Watchmen.
That's right. He played,
Yeah, right? So
you need to watch The Watchmen.
The Watchmen on HBO.
That's right.
And just when you said that he did a great job portraying Bobby Seale's an emotion, like in his face. And The Watchmen, it was all in his face, in the eyes, because he was the blue man, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he did a great job. Right. But I would definitely give it a 10.
So for me, the Chicago 7 gets a 7. No, I'm joking. Of course, Chicago 7 gets a 10. Right. So moving right along, people. Moving right along as we go through. The next film that we are reviewing is a Showtime series, right? If you are into comedy, like I am into comedy, I love blue comedy. I just love hearing comedians and how their mind works and how they bring about their stories. Right. I love it. And this is a tribute to The Comedy Store. It's called The Comedy Store, right? It's 2020. It's what The Comedy Store is what I'm Dying Up Here is loosely based on. The comedy club that I'm Dying Up Here is loosely based on is The Comedy Store, right? And the cast of top comics. You get to see rare footage from Freddie Prinze. Yeah. Jim Carrey is in it. He's also an executive producer along with
I'm Dying Up Here, also executive producer.
Right. Mm-hmm. Dave Chappelle is in it. Whitney Cummings is in it. Sam Kinison, rare footage on Sam Kinison. Jay Leno, David Letterman, J.J. Walker, Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, Bob Saget, Sarah Silverman, just to name a few of the comics. If you love comedy, if you like to laugh, jokes are timeless. And you will be watching this documentary and you will be it's a chuckle a second in this documentary, right? Right? Pauly Shore's mom, you know, Pauly Shore was real popular in the 90s, right? All over MTV. He was a stand-up comic, had movies and all that. His mom and dad owned the Comedy Store, right? The comedy club I'm Dying in Here is loosely based on, you know, the club, like I said before, also on Showtime. Let me play a little bit of that trailer too. I'm Dying Up Here. You have to watch that show. Executive produced by Jim Carrey. So let's give a synopsis of what's going on with the Comedy Store, right? Mike Bender returns to his comedy roots to tell the story, put the spotlight on the Comedy Store, the comedy club that has launched the careers of comedy royalty. Owned by Mitzi Shore, Pauly Shore's mom, it is the place still starry-eyed comics up and coming want to work out from. They want to work and they want to build their routines. If they go on late at night, they want to build to get to that main stage to then possibly branch out and get to other places. Back in 1972, beginning 1974, it was the Tonight Show. When Johnny Carson moved out to LA, that people came straight in through the Comedy Store, right? In 1972, the Comedy Store was opened by Sammy Shore jointly with his wife Mitzi Shore. When they divorced, she took over the club and took it to the heights that makes it worth having a documentary about, right? So what do you want to say about the comedy and all that
you know see I loved it, and it's just, we saw episode 1 and it was so good. I wanted to see episode 2, but it was getting so late, it was like really early in the morning, so we had to stop. It's that good. And what I do like is, and what I could respect is like the honesty among the comedians. They said one thing about Mitzi is she didn't hold her tongue. She was honest. If she felt that someone was really good, she would let you know. If they sucked that night, she would let them know. But she would also tell them, hey, try again, come back. How about trying this? How about trying that? Just to work on a craft, continue working on your craft. She was somebody that was in the corner. She was in the corner of the comedians. She, to me, was like their comedy godmother. Mom. Yeah, like godmother, right? So she looked out for all of the comedians. She gave them honest
opinions.
Honest opinions.
What did she tell Tiffany Haddish? She told Tiffany Haddish, "You're too pretty. You're not gonna make it in comedy. You're too pretty to make it in comedy." That was her opinion. Sometimes you have to take people's opinions with a grain of salt, because before American black comics like Moms Mabley, they would doll themselves down and make themselves look rough. And many times they had told female comedians anyway to rough yourself up to be able to come across to the audience.
But the good thing about that is her telling Tiffany Haddish that gave Tiffany Haddish the fuel to say, you know what? I'm not just a pretty face. I can be pretty, I can be funny, I'm intelligent. She's a businesswoman, right? And that right there helped light a fuel under Tiffany to show Tiffany, hey, I can be funny and pretty.
But at the same time, kind of in the 90s, Liston came out with Russell Simmons and Def Jam comedy, so that kind of like opened up a vehicle for black comics, and so you could be pretty as long as you could sling a joke, as some people say. Right?
And I love how Kevin Hart, I love how he opens the door for so many comedians, and and he's given, still to this day, he's given a platform to many comedians, and Tiffany Haddish was one, right?
Was one of them.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we reviewed a few of her films, executive produced by Kevin Hart, and we also reviewed a film that her and Kevin did together.
So people, Night School. So people, listen. Sometimes
Night School was hilarious.
People can have opinions, but that doesn't mean that it stops you from doing what you're doing.
You
right?
Take it, keep it moving. You take the good and bad, and you just
keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Right. So let's rate this now. Cinematography is a 10.
Okay.
Sound and editing, taking those DVRs and the analog and bringing it into digital, mixing sound, adding music, bringing the levels up. That is a 10.
Yes.
Right. Characters, making the comics. Characters to tell this story. That's a 10.
Yeah.
Timeless comedy. Comedy is timeless. Comedy is timeless. It doesn't matter when you hear it, unless it's something that's specific, that's about something happening in that time. But general stories about life experiences, people usually experience similar things, so that's what makes it funny. That's a 10. Capturing the feeling of the time, that's a 10. The Comedy Store as a location that people wanted to be at. Capturing that feeling within the story, that's a 10. Story beats, especially with the Freddie Prinze story.
Right, that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, they tell the Freddie Prinze story, then in episode 2 they go in and they talk about the Mitzi Shore story. That's a 10. Objectivity, subjectivity. It's a good balance there. So you give it a 10. Historical facts about the club, about the comics, etc., where they came from. That is a 10. So what would you rate the Comedy Store?
You know what? I would give it a 10 for all of the same reasons. I love the storytelling. I love like the funny, each of the different comedians that they talk to. Each of them have like a different little story, just nice little nuggets. Like with Freddie Prinze Jr., right?
No, Freddie Prinze. Freddie Prinze Jr. is his son.
Right, okay, with Freddie Prinze. Jimmy Walker tells a story. So I'm not going to tell this story. You have to see it when you watch it, but he tells a very interesting story, and it involves John Travolta.
Yeah, so you have to watch that.
So I love just like the little story, just the little nuggets that they give you, and just it's well done. It's hilarious. It's
well done.
Well done. Entertaining.
So the Comedy Store is a 10. Moving right along, people. Now, you know, a couple of weeks ago, back in September, just like we did last year, we dropped about we did a recap, whereas last year we talked about the top 10 all-time blaxploitation horror films. And along with that, we went over films that were not necessarily produced or written by American black producers, but that have American black actors in it. Horror movies good for American blacks and the diaspora to watch. This is part 3. You got to go back to the first couple of episodes of when we started dropping this down, right? Because we're getting ready to drop 4 more films that you should be watching, right? And we have them, right? Well, several films, right? Because LL has 3 that he is in alone. So horror movies good for American blacks to watch during this Halloween season, part 3, right? A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, came out in 1987. Character is Kincaid. Ken Sagos, that's who plays that. Again, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, 1987. Character Kincaid. Ken Sagos. Number 2, Deep Blue Sea, 1999. Halloween H2O, 1998. And Mind Hunters, all one word, 2004, starring LL Cool J. Right? You have to see these films. Horror movies good for American blacks in the diaspora to watch during the Halloween season. This is part 3 of that breakdown, right? Number 3 is Anaconda, 1997. Character, Danny Rich. Actor is Ice Cube. Ice Cube finds his way into every decade, right? It's not even like he's reinventing himself. He's just that prolific and important, right? To the people, right? To the people, right? Number 4. People Under the Stairs. People Under the Stairs, 1991. Sub tag is Kiss Your Ass Goodbye.
That was a good film. I remember that film.
We went to the theater to see that.
Yeah, it was real good.
Character is Fool, and he's portrayed by Brandon Adams, right? He's portrayed by Brandon Adams.
And he was such a great child star. He adorable, great actor. I just knew that I would see him, as years went as an actor today, as an adult actor.
Well, he is an adult actor, but he was shot along with the actor that was on Steve Harvey's show, right? He was shot. It was a setup of a girl who had been jilted by the guy. It's really sad stuff, right? Really a sad situation, But he recovered, and he's still in movies, still making movies today. So, what can you say, right? Just on a side note, people, have you seen the public service announcement from our possible 46th president of the United States, right? Which I do not have up right here right now.
Which one is it? Which candidate?
That would be Kanye West. That's right, Kanye West.
Oh, from the birthday party.
That's right. Kanye West has his new trailer out, and we were going to play it, but I did not pull it up. But it's really interesting. It's great. We'll probably hit it next week, right? Yeah. It's we have
to definitely hit it next week, because we talked about we discussed the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Independent Party. We've even mentioned the Green Party,
That's
right?
You know, we need to talk
about the birthday party.
The birthday party. That's right. That's right.
We have even mentioned the Libertarian Party in it.
Yeah, we have.
But we can't forget about the birthday party.
That's right. We have to have Kanye in there in the discussion. All right, people. So the next piece that we have is a anthology series on Hulu called Monsterland, right? So Monsterland is on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
There are 8 episodes in all, but we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of those episodes, right? The first episode is episode 1, Port Fortune, Louisiana. Caitlin Deaver is Tony. Jonathan Wall is Alex. This is a disturbing. All of the episodes are disturbing, but these 5 out of the 8 really get your head to turning, and you're like, oh my God, this is perfect for Halloween. If you have Hulu, you have to see Monsterland. Episode 2 is Eugene, Oregon. Charlie Tahan is Nick. Jake Casey plays the Shadow. If you are easy to see something out the corner of your eye, did you see it in the darkness and the light? Viewer discretion is advised. Other than that, if you can stomach it, you are there to watch it. You should definitely watch this. Monsterland is no joke. It is not for the faint at heart. Episode 3, New Orleans, LA, right? Hamish Linklater. Well, Linklater is his name, not letter. Marquise, who plays Dr. Joe Keller. I can't read my own writing, it's so small. Marquise Rodriguez plays George. Right. And Nicole Bahari plays Annie. Okay. This episode, have you ever seen, you need to go onto YouTube. I had all this planned and to pull these different clips up, but I ran out of time to do it. But you should go on YouTube and search when Arsenio Hall came out with the remake, with the second show, right? Came out in the early 2010s, right? Yeah. He had Nicole Bahari on his show, and she came out with such a bad attitude. Arsenio Hall is from Cleveland, Ohio, so he's got this Mac. He's got the Mac game in him. He doesn't use it because it's like he's like a happy-go-lucky type of dude.
The audience was taken aback too.
But she came out and she was looking around. Have you ever seen the Dr. Dre video? G thing, nothing but a G thing, baby. And then the girl comes out and they wet her up with the 40s because she's acting like it's all sticky. That's how she was acting. And so he made her stand up, go back out behind the curtain. He announces her again. The band strikes up. She comes out because he gave her instruction. When you come out this time, come out happy, bubbly, pleasant, say hello, boom. He made her get up and do it. It's just this madness, okay? He made her go back out, and she came back out, she came back in, and he sat down there for about 2 minutes with her and said, we're going to break. Thank you for Nicole Bahari being here. That's when you start to realize
that. I didn't see her again after that.
No, you didn't. And then shortly after that, she lost Sleepy Hollow, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So people are not appreciative, and
Yeah, because Arsenio was really nice and sweet, and she was just rude.
But that was the start of them hiring people who are not ADOS.
Okay.
Right? Okay. That's my opinion on it, right? My thought on it.
Yeah, because the television show Sleepy Hollow went on without her. That's right. So, and after that, you didn't see her.
Didn't see her anymore.
So, and then I said, I wonder if it's because of her attitude.
It's your attitude that describes.
But on Monsterland, she did a great job.
She did a great job. She looks a little older. Take a look at the scene when she's laying in bed and look at her hands, and you can tell, in my opinion, what's been going on. Look at her hands. Okay, episode 6, right? Palacios, Texas, right? Tai Tran is Sharko.
Okay.
Adria Arjona is the mermaid. Now this is a perfect example of the scorpion and the frog, right? Perfect example of the scorpion and the frog. The Sharko character is a Asian character who comes across a mermaid. He thinks that the mermaid is dead. He's probably going to just keep it on ice and then take it in and get some bread.
Right.
But come to find out, the mermaid is alive, and the mermaids can hypnotize, as the folklore is good. All of these episodes are good at telling the story of the folklore that they are depicting, right? So you go through, and it is just like the scorpion and the frog, because something awaits her once people discover what's really good. So you have to see that,
you have
right?
to see it. Yeah.
And then episode 8, Newark, New Jersey. Mike Coulter plays Brian Cook. De Perot Dure plays Amy Cook. Right? You know Mike Coulter from
Luke Cage.
Right. He's also in another one we're going to be reviewing tonight called Evil. And of course other films and television, right?
Great job,
This story is about the loss of a child.
Yeah.
Angels and but if you look at this is not in the film, but it looks as if one of the so-called angels was the ones who lured her in, but they don't show you that. But something happens at the end. So let's go through the synopsis. Anthology series, just in time for Halloween and beyond. Monsterland tells 8 distinct stories of human desperation, which lead to the characters experiencing various ends, dealing with shadows, werewolves, demons, angels, and decisions from the past which come back to bite your right? Yep. Just like New Orleans, Louisiana, right?
Right.
The mother knew. And that's all we're going to say about that. You have to watch that. That's the Anna character, the Dr. Joe Keller and George character as a little boy, and he grows up. You have to watch it. It's really good. You have to see that. So out of the 8, we picked out 5. So that's a majority that is good, right?
Yeah.
So so let's give the breakdown of it. Cinematography on this, the use, you can see within the trailer just the imagery that they're creating.
Right.
That's a 10. Storyline, through line is a 10. The sound and editing, using the creepy sounds with the music and the creaking of the animals or whatnot, or whatever is being used. Within the Louisiana, using the trumpet as a horrifying sound is incredible. That's a 10. Character arc is a 10. Cities that they use as a character. That's a 10. Locations within the cities that they use. That's a 10. Story beats, how one beat connects to later in the film. That's a 10. Believability is a 10. What would you give Monsterland?
Monsterland was really good. I love all the different stories, like the anthology. I love it all.
Kind of like Amazing Stories.
Amazing Stories, right. You know, and then it's perfect now. You know, October, we're heading towards Halloween. So this would be great to watch. I would definitely give it a 10 because the acting is great. I love all the different stories. We still have 3 more stories to get to watch. They did a really good job. They released it right on time. I would definitely give it a 10. And I love seeing all of the different actors, men and women from different backgrounds.
Multicultural.
Yeah, you know, so great storytelling.
Right. So moving right along, people, moving on to the next movie that we're going to review. All right. The next series that we're going to review also stars Mike Coulter. You know, Luke Cage. It also stars Luke Cage.
Yeah.
It's called Evil.
True or false? I like mechanics.
Right.
We saw this on
Netflix.
Yes.
That's
you can also see it on CBS.com.
That's right.
Thanks for asking.
I compare it. I say that it's X-Files meets The Exorcist meets Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
Think about that.
Right.
X-Files meets The Exorcist meets Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
Mike Coulter is David Acosta.
Are you referring to
Keija
metaphorically?
Herbers is Christian Bonchert. Asif, excuse me if I butcher this. This is a Muslim name, Islamic name. Asif Madabi is Ben Shakir. Michael Emerson is Lindell Townsend. And Christian Lati is Cheryl Larry, mother of Christian, and her mother is exactly, absolutely. Well, we're going to get to that. It's an ensemble cast piece, right?
Yeah.
And it's a piece about
Believe in this stuff. I don't.
X-Files meets Exorcism meets
No demonic possession.
Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm just telling you, that's what this is.
Yeah.
It is an interesting combination of horror connected together in a gumbo that brings interesting television, right?
There are people out there who do bad.
Let's go through the synopsis. Again, hey, this is the synopsis. It's X-Files meets The Exorcist meets Nightmare on Elm Street as a basically single mother of 4 deals with night terrors, possessions, demon spirits, and the Catholic Church while trying to remain skeptical about what she sees. Kind of like, which one was skeptical? Scully or I think it was Scully, right? That's the female. Look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up because the X-Files was so frustrating.
You start putting it down after a while, but she was just, her nose.
She would see these freaking aliens, and then the next episode it was as if she never knew they existed.
Her nose would be bleeding. She would have been probed and still say, I think it was a dream.
Right.
I mean, it really got to a point where it was like her skepticism was just really to a level that was just like, come on, man. I sound like Biden there. I sound like Biden with his racist. Come on, man.
Yes, it was Scully.
Yeah, Scully, and then he was what? What was
Mulder.
Mulder, that's right. So Scully. So this is
have diarrhea.
X-Files meets The Exorcist meets Nightmare on Elm Street. If you are interested in that, you will love this. If you're interested in any of those franchises, you will be interested in this, right? So let's see, where was I? Okay. So she deals with nightmares, night terror, possessions, demon spirits, and the Catholic Church while trying to remain skeptical about what she sees and experiences. And with a hippie-esque mom who didn't get the memo, the 60s are over. Anything can and will happen.
Yes.
What do you think about it? I mean, I think the episodes, because we're in it, we're binge watching it now.
Yeah.
And the episodes, each one can stand alone. That's what I like. If you watch the trailer and you think it's just about a Hannibal Lecter type character from beginning to end, this is what you see in the trailer, you will be totally wrong. And matter of fact, Hannibal Lecter is nowhere in this. This is, like I said, X-Files meets Exorcist meets Nightmare on Elm Street. So what would you think? What do you think about how each episode is standalone?
That's what I love about it. And like one of my favorite episodes is the one I would call a Halloween episode, because it's like so many different storylines going on. I mean, because not only are we dealing with the main characters, right?
There are people out there who do bad things.
The main character, the female character, she's the only one on the show, right? Well, other than her mom. She has these 4 daughters, right? So they have a storyline going on too, and they're dealing with evil.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like evil on top of evil.
And
Like
they're dealing with evil because someone who is kind of hippie-esque opens the door for her.
So, I mean, it's just like multiple storylines going on.
And meanwhile, while she opened the door for it, there's a whole nother evil going on trying to snatch her. I mean, so it's twisting and turning.
So I love how each episode, you're right, stand alone. So it's just well written. The acting is great. I love how each episode is different. That's just like, for instance, Law and Order, right? So it's been on for years, but I don't care if it's an old episode, if it's a new episode. I mean, I'll sit down and watch. If it's on, I'm watching it. It's great, right? Each episode stands alone. It's a different story. Well, this is how evil is. Each episode is a different story. Although the main characters are still dealing with maybe the same issues in their personal lives. It's a different story.
It's a different story that they're dealing with.
Right.
But there are certain plot lines. That's what's so genius about it. Certain plot lines that stick around and follow them.
Yes.
Like a curse. It follows them through to the next episode. So they have their own complex problems. But then they have to deal with a main storyline. Then there's second and third storylines happening all in the same time within this ensemble piece. Beautifully edited.
It is. Just clever, well written. Just you won't be disappointed.
You won't be disappointed. Nope. The pacing on it, right? It's not a category on my breakdown, but the pacing keeps you moving through it, and you're like, "What?"
Before you know it, the episode is over.
That's right. And you're like, "What? Stop doing that!" Especially with the kids. You're like, "Get." So, let's go through the rating first before I ask you what you rated. Cinematography. The way that they tell this story, the way that they move the camera, the lighting, the use of shadow is a 10. Lighting and edits, that's the next category, that's a 10. Storyline, through line, 10. Character arc is a 10. City as a character is a 10. The locations within the city, the houses they use, the prisons that they use, the rooms within the house that they use, that's a 10. Story beats, how the secondary and third stories follow through as the next main case that has to be solved pushes through in the narrative. That's a 10 in the story beats. Believability. The research on the different type of like night terrors, like what you're seeing in this scene right here, and the different research on exorcism, on being able to tell, debunk if it's real or not.
Oh yeah, if you watch the show Ghost Hunters.
Right. Yeah. Well researched, well executed in this piece.
It is. There's an episode that kind of gives a tribute to Ghost Hunters. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what would you give Evil?
I would definitely give
the show. What would you give Evil?
I would give the show.
The
CBS.com
episodic.
Netflix. It's well written, very entertaining. The writing is just like clever.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely give it a 10 because before you know it, the episode begins. Before you know it, it's over. They get so much information in within like that hour, right? So I would definitely give it a 10.
Definitely give it a 10. All right, people. So the next film that the next series that we're showing you we're reviewing tonight is, by the way, I give Evil, the series, a 10. Okay, moving right along. The next show that we're doing, the next episodic series is Filthy Rich on Fox. It's a series, 2020. Kim Cattrall is Margaret. Mila Quelling is Ginger Sweet. Steve Harris is Franklin Lee. Gerald McRaney is Eugene. Cranston Johnson is Luke Taylor. Deneen Tyler is Nora Ellington. Such a good word for a conductor. Yeah. Because she is the conductor. She is the one in the engineering room making sure that the camera switches to camera A, camera B, camera C. She is the person that does this, right? Yep. So, the synopsis. A wife, mother, first lady to a television ministry empire finds out some hard truths when it appears her husband has died in a plane crash, leaving her to handle family, extended family, and initial backers who don't necessarily care for her management style. This is a piece about PTL Club. Do you remember PTL Club? Yeah. Jimmy Swaggart. Yeah. What else? Joel Osteen. Yeah. I mean, it's about it's Joel Osteen-esque PT. Tammy Faye and Tammy Faye and Baker and
Joyce Myers.
Yes. All the people who are evangelical evangelists that have television ministries. This is what this is about, and the behind the scenes. So the father appears to die in a plane accident, her husband, and she discovers that there is some extended family. That's what I will say to that. I won't go any further than that. There is some extended family, and she has to make the right decisions. Does she make the right decisions? Does Margaret make the right decisions? You have to watch the episodes. I think that, I'm not going to say. You have to watch the episode. Yeah. It is great episodic TV, and you can binge watch it.
You can, and what I love about it is, it's like you said, it's a combination like the PTL Club kind of mixed in with a little bit of
Jimmy Swaggart.
But mixed in with like some Dynasty or Knots Landing and a soap opera. Like if you watched General Hospital or All My Children or that type of ongoing storylines with the characters, or Nashville,
or Empire,
and just like a combination of all of that, and like just a little bit. Even if you watch Kim Cattrall we know her from Sex and the City, so just a little bit of humor and all of that combined in one.
That's right. Sex from the City. But if you want to know where Kim Cattrall got her start, this the first one I ever saw. I was 12 years old, and I remember my sister, we went to go see this movie called Porky's. And if you have never seen the movie, first of all, viewer discretion is advised because it's based in the 1950s.
Okay.
It's a coming of age film, but it is a coming of age stag film. It's about what young Caucasian dudes, greasers, would do when they were coming of age, when everything was a mystery. Sex and sexuality was a mystery, and it wasn't taught the way, or it's not as an open society as it is today. And Porky's is that film, and there is a scene in it where Kim Cattrall is in. This is where Kim Cattrall got her start, and it kind of passed on. This might be the first role, major role, where she's the headlining star, where it's not like it was.
Right.
Because what she did, it's a scene in Porky's where the guy asks Kim Cattrall's character, she's a cheerleader, he asks her, why do they call you, oh man, I had it. Why do they call you, okay, I forgot that just that fast.
Is it Lassie?
Why? Yes, right. Why do they call you Lassie? If you do not laugh at that scene for at least 20 minutes after it's over, I will. Porky's is a laugh fest all the way through. You get to see what
kind of like, is it similar to like, what was the other movie that they like, the Fast Times at
Ridgemont High, and before that, the forerunner to that was the movie with Jim Belushi, Animal House.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
So those type of stag films put in rated R formats, MC-17 formats, were put across the screen. They would not pass the censor test today. But why do they call you Lassie? If you do not, that and the scene with Pee Wee Herman and Pee Wee's Big Adventure, when they're in the rig and he's driving down the street with this woman in this semi truck. She picks him up because he's hitchhiking, and the woman starts telling him a story. If you do not laugh at that scene 20 minutes after it's delivered in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, let me tell you something. You're just not appreciating the comedy. And the same thing with Porky. So this will be the first one, because her character in Sex and the City,
Samantha
Skin, was in, and this right here,
she does a great job on this show.
Much. Right.
As you know, she does a great job on this show as the lead, the woman of the house. But what I also loved about the very first episode of Filthy Rich is seeing actress Lindsay G. Smith, and we interviewed her.
We sure did.
And,
just before she walked the red carpet here in Las Vegas.
Yep, we sure did. And she did a great job on Filthy Rich episode 1. And
so it's worth seeing, right?
It is definitely worth seeing.
So let's go through the breakdown.
Okay.
Cinematography is a 10.
Okay.
Storyline, through line is a 10. Sound and editing is a 10. Character arc is a 10.
Yeah.
Acting skill and emoting, the Margaret and Ginger tug of war in this leaves the opportunity for both actors to be a little physical and emote. When the close-up comes, it tells the story, right? Wardrobes and sets. I mean, they really bring the evangelical evangelizing. They show you the behind the scenes. They show what it takes in the control room. It's beautifully done. That's a 10, right? It's kind of like what was that show? The morning show. The show that we saw with Witherspoon
and Jennifer Aniston.
That's right. They show you the behind the scenes. It's beautifully done. Locations outside of the studio setting. That's a 10.
It takes place in isn't it Louisiana?
Yes. Story beats, right? Story beats. Things connecting from the past to the future. Things happening. They come back in the next episode. It's a 10. Believability. You believe that you are a fly on the wall behind the scenes of a televangelist situation. That's a 10. Historical facts. Weaving in the historical facts without saying, okay, yeah, this is historical. This is how this happened. You just see how things are set up and you see the historical framework of them. The onion is pulled back. That's a 10. What would you give Filthy Rich?
I would give it a 10 because it is very entertaining and it's good to see Kim Cattrall like acting and lead, because it's been a while since Sex and the City. So just to see her, with the hair, the makeup, the clothes, great job. What I loved also about this show is again, like it's very, very multicultural, right? And the storylines. What's so good about this show is I thought we would at least be able to like seriously binge watch, but I think we're caught up now, and I think we made it through maybe 4 episodes, But it's so good. It's like you want more. So I said, okay, I know this is a good show because I'm pissed that I can't binge watch it. So it's good. Like I said, it's like an ode to, like for me, like I loved, growing up watching like the soap operas during the day, and at night, the night soap operas, the Dallases, the Falcon Crest, the Knots Landings, Dynasty. And so you just combine all of that with, like you said, the evangelists. And
it starts out with who killed JR.
Right.
Because it's questionable about how the airplane goes down. So that's going to unfold in the story as it goes along, right?
So definitely a 10. Worth watching.
That's right. Filthy Rich for me is a 10. Plus, you get to learn how people think. What is written in these episodic stories tell you how people think, how they would move, how they would rationalize, how they could be the scorpion and the frog. This Monday,
go ahead.
This Monday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. It's hashtag observations TFR. We're talking about episode 39. Can you believe it already? Wow, episode 39. The Scorpion and the Frog. How it applies to the political climate that is happening right now. How it pertains. You need to tune in on Monday. Right? So what were you about to say about Filthy Rich?
Filthy Rich, you can watch it on Fox.
Watch it on Fox. And people, look, don't forget, tonight is the finale for Lovecraft Country. If you have not seen Lovecraft Country, it is the it show for you to watch. Before that, Watchmen was the it show. If the last episode and the musical choice of the last episode of The Watchmen doesn't get you searching for that song, then you're just not watching the same program, buddy. And of course, tonight also is Fargo.
Yes, Chris Rock.
Installment 4 coming from Kansas City.
Yes.
Here I come, right? 1950s Kansas City. And the Good Lord Bird. And we told you that if you are squeamish, if you feel that your people who you look up to in American black historical figures, if you don't like them in satire or certain truths being exposed in a humorous way, then you need to be watching first episode 34 of #Observations TFR by Crazy D with my special guest Tanya M. Congress, special guest host. The Frederick Douglass Affair. We break down Frederick Douglass and his wives.
That's why I was prepared when I watched The Good Lord Bird. It's because I watched the Observations episode 34 when you and Tanya broke down the Frederick Douglass Affair.
That's right.
So I was mentally prepared, but on The Good Lord Bird, it's kind of like after seeing the show that you guys did, it helped put the pieces together, because I had a feeling that the second wife or mistress or whatever she was, I had a feeling what her place was in his life at the time. And after watching the episode,
it was confirmed.
It was definitely confirmed. Yes, her agenda. Yeah, definitely confirmed.
Right. Yeah. And it was a tug of war, people. So listen.
Yeah.
Don't forget, again, Monday, the Scorpion and the Frog. #Observations TFR by Crazy D with my special guest host, my sister Tanya M. Congress. Episode 39. The Scorpion and the Frog. The political climate today. There are bonds that are being ripped apart that will never be mended. Right? There are people who are following the stereotypical archetypes of people during this time, and we're breaking it down. So you need to tune in Monday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, on Vimeo, on Periscope, on FB, and on the Film Review Live channel. Film Review Live channel on YouTube. Go there right now, subscribe, smash the like button, because we have brought you much information, because at #TFRPODCASTLIVE we bring the reviews that will save you revenue, and we bring you information that most likely will save your life. Don't forget to go back and watch episodes 104 through 110. We break down the novel coronavirus, how to survive it, and we use films, post-apocalyptic film to describe it. And then make sure you watch episodes 121 through now. We break down herd immunity in episode 124, right? And we talked about what is exactly happening right now with Ice Cube, with ADOS, and with the people, in our opinion, trading off on your own to support
I have a question.
Caucasian.
Why do you think that? Because some people, it just depends on who you're talking to. Right? Because I know of some people who, like I have a friend, and she's a Biden supporter, and you know, she tells you why, and you know, and that's it, and you know, you just have a regular conversation. But then you have some people who are like, when it comes to this politics, they start like little
foaming
jabs.
at the mouth.
Jabs start, you know,
yeah,
not so nice, mean stuff, nasty comments, like just little jabs, and it's just like, okay, so it's not really that serious. This is politics, you know, and you know, if you can articulate to me why you are for this candidate, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, I can respect that.
Right.
But if you can't articulate to me why you are for a candidate other than you're just opposed to the other one, mm-hmm. I mean, that's not. But then, hey, you don't have to articulate it to me if you can't. That's fine. But don't be mean, rude, and nasty when all I'm doing is just asking questions.
Right, because you know, when you ask questions, people get upset. But listen,
some people, not all,
but people,
most,
I'm noticing most
yeah,
get upset because they just are used to people just taking what they say hook, line, and sinker. But I'm not a fish or a frog or a bottom feeder in the ocean. Right. What
I feel is immature is for people to automatically, just because you're asking a question, oh, you must be a Trump supporter. Well,
that's their default, right?
Yeah, but it's like, no, I'm just asking a question. Right. Just like I ask Trump supporters questions. So if it's okay for me to ask questions regarding people who are voting for Trump, it's okay for me to ask questions to the people that's voting for Biden. So I mean, it's just crazy. Like, it's like people are offended when you start, I don't know, not making them, but asking them to use their brain, kind of like logic.
Do the research.
Yeah.
Our last episode of hashtag observations TFR 38.
Right.
We break down everything that you need to know. But go back and watch episode 1 through 38 because we're putting down information that you can use, right?
Right.
But it comes down to the reality that people are set in what they believe, and if you challenge what they believe, then you must be for that other direction, and that is not true because we don't have a dog in this hunt because we're not voting for, because we're not a Dixiecrat coon, and we're not a Republican coon, we're not an independent coon or a nonpartisan coon. We are American black citizens of the United States of America, the corporation.
And so we're voting, like I'm voting for what affects me locally. Like I look into all of the judges before and select the ones I'm going to vote for. Mm-hmm. The sheriffs, the councilmen or councilwomen, like locally. Because, and I look up each one to make sure that I am voting for the correct person.
Right. And this is what it is. No one person can put you into your personal slavery. That's what you do.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You're afraid of what? If you knew the history, you would be afraid of nothing. Listen, people, make sure that you check out these shows we got up here. Lovecraft is the finale tonight. Yep. Go back and watch Watchmen, binge watch it. The Good Lord Bird.
Yep.
And Fargo 4, based in Kansas City. These are shows that are filling in context for you, filling in the gaps of history. People, we have enjoyed coming to you today. Got any last words?
Just look up both candidates or all three in case there's an independent or you know, for maybe a green candidate or libertarian, but whoever you choose, look at the platform of each of your candidates and make the smart decision?
The smart decision for us
What's
is
best for you?
The smart decision for us is to abstain, because neither candidate is good for us. People, this has been another great episode of #TFRPODCASTLIVE. The film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, society on this podcast. And we will see you next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Film Review Life channel. Subscribe.
Yep.
Periscope, Vimeo, and FB.
Push that like button.
That's it. I love this show.
I do too.
The Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel. Subscribe.
Hi, this is Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching the Film Review.